The smell hit me first when I walked through the door. Roasted chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, fresh bread from the bakery on Elm Street that charged $12 a loaf. Mom was trying. That meant something bad was coming. Grandpa's house still looked like his. 3 weeks since the funeral and nothing had changed. His reading glasses on the side table, coffee mug by the sink, workshop keys hanging on the hook by the back door. I touched the frame of the photo in the hallway. Grandpa at age 42, standing in front of his machine shop. Coveralls covered in grease. Genuine smile. Stop being sentimental. Mom's voice cut through from the kitchen. We need to discuss practical matters tonight. Practical matters. That's what she called it when money was involved. I walked into the dining room. Marcus was already sprawled in Grandpa's chair at the head of the table. 33 years old, wearing a polo shirt that cost more than my monthly car payment. He didn't look up from his phone. Claire sat across from him, 25, and holding her iPhone in portrait mode. Filming. Is this really necessary? I asked, nodding at the phone. She lowered it just enough to look at me over the top. This is content, Jake. Family dinner to discuss inheritance. Very on brand. On brand for what? My aesthetic. She went back to filming. You wouldn't understand. I sat at the far end of the table. The spot I'd always taken. The spot Grandpa used to wink at me from across the room during these dinners. Mom brought out the chicken on a serving platter. She'd dressed up. Earrings, lipstick, the whole performance. Dad followed behind her carrying the potatoes, silent as always. 41 years of marriage and I'd heard him speak maybe 400 words total. Everyone settled in. Marcus carved the chicken like he owned the place. Technically, he thought he did. So, Marcus set down the carving knife. A state lawyer called me yesterday. I kept eating, didn't look up. Will reading is scheduled for next week, Tuesday at 10 in the morning. Claire swung her phone toward him. This is so vintage. Family gathering to discuss the will. Very old money energy. She had 1,200 followers on TikTok, mostly hate watchers. Marcus continued like she hadn't spoken. Lawyer mentioned something interesting. Said there's a complication with the executor designation. I took a bite of potatoes. Let him talk. Mom jumped in. Let's not discuss business at dinner. We should eat first. Her voice had that tight quality, the one that meant she knew something and didn't want it said out loud. Marcus waved her off. No, we need to handle this now, before the reading, before things get messy. He pulled a folder from the chair beside him. Leather, expensive, the kind with his initials embossed on the front. Slid it across the table toward me. The folder stopped next to my water glass. What's this? I asked. Just paperwork. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Dad's lawyer prepared it. Simple consent form. I didn't touch it yet. It confirms I'm handling everything as eldest son. Just making it official before next week. I opened the folder. 6 pages, laser printed, official letterhead from Whitmore and Associates. Real law firm. This wasn't something Marcus threw together. First page. Voluntary relinquishment of executor authority. I read slower. Let the silence stretch. Clause 3. Undersigned waives all rights to contest distribution decisions made by primary executor. Clause 7. Undersigned transfers all management authority of estate assets to Marcus James Walsh. I set the first page down. Looked at the signature line at the bottom of page 6. My name pre-printed there. Just needed my signature and a date. This says I'm the current executor. The room went quiet. Even Claire lowered her phone. Marcus forced a laugh. Yeah, about that. Grandpa had some confusion at the end. Confusion. He put your name down as temporary co-executor. Marcus made a dismissive gesture. But obviously it should be me. I'm the oldest. I run a business. I know how to handle assets. What business? I asked. Marcus's jaw tightened. I'm consulting right now. Between opportunities. Unemployed. That's what between opportunities meant. Third time in 2 years. Mom set down her fork. Your grandfather wasn't thinking clearly those last months? He was fine, Mom. The dementia was getting worse. Grandpa didn't have dementia. Her face went hard. Don't contradict me, Jake. Claire lifted her phone again. Ooh, little brother's getting feisty. She was smiling. Marcus, you should ground him. She laughed at her own joke. The sound grated like metal on concrete. Turn that off, I said. It's my phone. Her smile widened. It's going on TikTok either way. I pushed back from the table. Stood up. I need to think about this. Dad stood too. First real movement he'd made all dinner. He didn't say anything, just moved to block the doorway behind me. I turned. Marcus was standing now, behind my chair, between me and the front door. Sit down, Mom said. Not a request, a command. I stayed standing. Mom stood too. Walked around the table until she was 3 feet away, close enough that I could see the foundation caked in the lines around her mouth. Sign it tonight? Her voice dropped low. Or leave this house? I looked at her. You'll never see any of us again. She crossed her arms. And we'll contest the will. Elder abuse, undue influence. Grandpa was senile and you manipulated him. Marcus nodded. We have evidence. The sudden executor change. The way you visited him constantly those last months. I visited because he was dying. Or because you wanted the money. Marcus picked up the folder, held it out. Sign this and we're good. Family stays together. You get a fair share. Fair share. Coming from the man who'd borrowed $8,000 from my college graduation gift and never paid it back. Claire was filming all of it now, phone held steady, the little red recording light bright in the corner. I looked at each of them. Mom, cold and certain. Dad, silent and blocking the exit. Marcus, holding that folder like a weapon. Claire, documenting it all for content. The house felt smaller than it used to. Grandpa's house. The one he built with money from his machine shop. The one he bought in 1978 for $42,000. Worth $780,000 now. I looked at the folder in Marcus's hand. Okay, everyone went still. Okay what? Marcus asked. I'll sign it. Mom's shoulders dropped. Finally. Some sense, but I need to read the full trust documents first. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Why? Because I'm signing away legal rights. I want to make sure I'm protected. It was reasonable, careful. The kind of thing a lawyer would advise. Marcus looked at Mom. She nodded slowly. Fine. Where are the documents? My apartment. I'll bring them tomorrow morning. We'll sign everything before the will reading next week. Marcus stepped closer. Why not just sign this now? Because that would be stupid. I met his eyes. You're asking me to give up executor status. I need to know what that means legally, what I'm liable for, what I'm protected from. He didn't have an answer for that. Tomorrow, I said again. 9 in the morning. I'll bring everything. Mom looked at Marcus. He nodded. 9 a.m., she said. Don't be late. I won't. Claire lowered her phone. That was boring. She sounded disappointed. He just caved. I walked toward the door. Dad moved aside. Slowly. Like he was giving me one last chance to change my mind. I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack, the one Grandpa had built in his workshop. Solid oak. My jacket hung on the same peg I'd used since I was 12. Tomorrow, Marcus called after me. 9 a.m. Sharp. I opened the front door. Stepped out onto the porch. Behind me, I heard the pop of a champagne cork. Marcus laughing. Mom saying something about finally handling things properly. I walked to my car. 2012 Honda Civic. Paid off. No car note. Parked at the curb under the oak tree. Got in. Closed the door. Sat there with my hands on the steering wheel. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., they expected a signature. A surrender. Quiet Jake, finally doing what he was told. I pulled out my phone. Opened the encrypted app. The one with the plain gray icon. No name. Just a lock symbol. Grandpa made me install it 2 years ago. Said I'd know when to use it. I typed, Initiate plan safeguard. Hit send. 3 seconds later, the reply came. Confirmed. Attorney standing by. I started the engine, put the car in drive. In the rearview mirror, I could see the house. Lights on in every window. My family inside, celebrating their victory. I pulled away from the curb. Tomorrow, they'd learn what Grandpa really thought about victory. Tomorrow, they'd learn he'd built something they couldn't take. I drove toward my apartment. Away from that house. Away from their champagne and their cameras and their folder full of lies. My phone sat in the cup holder. Screen dark now. The encrypted app had already deleted the messages. No trace. Just like Grandpa taught me. I turned left onto Madison, right on 5th. The route I'd driven 1,000 times. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., a courier would knock on their door. Registered mail. Requiring signature. They'd open it expecting routine paperwork. They'd get something else. I merged onto the highway. 10:47 p.m. The city lights blurred past. Traffic was light. My apartment was 22 minutes away. Small, 1 bedroom, $1,100 a month. Nothing like the house they thought I should want. Everything like the life I'd actually built. I thought about Claire's camera, about that footage, about Marcus's champagne and Mom's cold certainty. They'd recorded their own defeat. They just didn't know it yet. The exit sign appeared. Maple Street. I took the ramp. 2 blocks to my building. 3 flights of stairs. The quiet apartment where nobody demanded anything. Where Grandpa's letter waited in the safe. Where the truth waited. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., I parked in my assigned spot. Grabbed my jacket, locked the car. The night air was cool. October in Ohio, leaves on the ground, the smell of wood smoke from someone's fireplace. I climbed the stairs, unlocked my door, stepped inside, set my keys on the counter, hung my jacket on the hook. Stood there in the quiet. Tomorrow they'd call. 60, 70 times probably. Texts, emails, voicemails full of threats and bargaining and rage. I walked to the safe in my closet. Spun the combination, opened it. The folder was right on top. Estate executor documents. Grandpa's handwritten letter on top. I pulled it out. Carried it to the kitchen table. Sat down. Didn't open it yet. Just sat there. Thinking about Grandpa's workshop. Saturday mornings. Wood shavings on the floor. The smell of sawdust and oil. Him teaching me how to measure twice and cut once. How to build something that would last. How to see the difference between value and price. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., they'd learn that lesson. Whether they wanted to or not. The apartment was dark when I got there. 10:11 p.m. I didn't turn on the lights right away. Just stood in the doorway. Listened to the silence. No Marcus demanding signatures. No Claire filming for content. No Mom's tight voice pretending everything was fine. Just quiet. I locked the door behind me, dropped my keys on the counter, walked straight to the bedroom closet. The safe was built into the wall behind my winter coats. Gray metal. 10-digit combination. Grandpa had insisted I get one when I moved in here 2 years ago. For important things, he'd said. Things you don't want anyone finding. I spun the dial. Right 23. Left 41. Right 17. Left 9. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Inside was the folder. Thick. Legal-sized. Tab labeled Estate. Executor docs in Grandpa's handwriting. I pulled it out, carried it to the kitchen table, set it down, stared at it. They thought I'd cave. Everyone always thought I'd cave. Quiet Jake. Soft Jake. The one who fixed the Wi-Fi and never complained. I opened the folder. On top was a handwritten letter. 3 pages. Blue ink. Grandpa's cramped cursive that slanted left because he'd broken his wrist in 1968 and it never healed straight. I picked it up. Started reading. Jake, if you're reading this, Marcus tried something. I knew he would. I'm making you executor for 3 reasons. First, Marcus has $47,000 in gambling debts. I paid them off twice. Once when he was 26. Again at 29. He's 31 now and still calls me for loans. Last month he asked for $12,000. Said it was for business equipment. I found the betting receipts in his car. Second, when I let him help with my business at 26, he nearly bankrupted it in 6 months. Saw customers as ATMs, not relationships. Raised prices 40% overnight. Lost 8 contracts. I had to buy him out before he destroyed everything I built. Third, you remember our Saturday mornings in the workshop. Marcus never came. Too busy networking, he said. Building connections. You came because you wanted to learn. You asked questions. You listened. You understood that building something real takes time. The trust is $2.4 million from selling my company. Marcus will want all of it. Your mother will support him because she always has. Claire will film it for content. You'll feel guilty. Don't. I'm trusting you to protect this from people who see money, not value. Even if they're family, especially if they're family. The attorney Vaughn has the safeguard plan. Use it if they pressure you. Build something good with this, Jake, like we built things in the workshop. Grandpa. I set the letter down. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else. Recognition, maybe. He'd known. 8 months ago when he wrote this, he'd known exactly how tonight would go. I looked at the tools on the shelf above my desk. Grandpa's chisels. The set he'd used for 40 years. He gave them to me when I graduated college 5 years ago, along with $15,000. Marcus borrowed $8,000 of it that same week. Said he had an investment opportunity. Real estate flip? Guaranteed return? Never paid it back. Never mentioned it again. Family helping family, he'd said. I turned back to the folder. Underneath the letter were documents, legal papers, thick stack bound with a black clip. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out. Email from Vaughn. Timestamp 9:37 p.m., 2 minutes after I'd sent the safeguard activation. Subject line, protocol confirmed. I opened it. Mr. Walsh, safeguard protocol activated at 9:35 p.m. per your instruction. All estate accounts frozen effective immediately. Family members cannot access funds until you provide written authorization. Will reading postponed indefinitely per executor, Emergency Powers Clause 4.2. Attached. Trust provisions. Summary and executor authority documentation. Protocol B is prepared for execution at your discretion. Confirm timing for family notification. Vaughn. Attached were 2 PDFs. I clicked the first one. Trust Provisions Summary. Dated 8 months ago. Executed February 14th. Valentine's Day. Grandpa had a sense of humor about that. I scrolled through. Legal language. Dense paragraphs. Then the distribution section. Article 7. Asset distribution upon the passing of the grantor. 60% to charitable organizations. Broken down by category. Veterans Workshop Programs. Youth Coding Education Initiatives. Small Business Development Grants. Organizations Grandpa had supported for decades. 20% to executor, Jake Michael Walsh, for faithful service and protection of estate assets. 15% to surviving spouse, Patricia Walsh, and son, Robert Walsh. Conditional upon completion of financial counseling program through certified provider. Funds to be distributed quarterly over 5 years. 5% divided among extended family members. Cousins Amy and David. Aunt Sarah. People who'd visited Grandpa in the hospital, who'd asked how he was feeling instead of what he was worth. Then the footnote at the bottom of the page. Note. Eldest children. Marcus James Walsh and Claire Elizabeth Walsh are explicitly excluded from distribution due to demonstrated pattern of financial irresponsibility and lack of genuine familial concern. This exclusion is intentional and not to be contested. I read it 3 times. Grandpa hadn't left the decision to me. He'd already made it. 2 years ago, apparently. I scrolled up. Checked the date the trust was initially created. March 12th, 2 years ago. Around the time Marcus asked Grandpa to co-sign a car loan. $42,000 for a BMW he couldn't afford. Grandpa refused. Marcus didn't speak to him for 6 months. Didn't call. Didn't visit. Acted like Grandpa had betrayed him. Grandpa noticed. He noticed everything. I clicked the second PDF. Executor Emergency Powers. Section 4.2. The executor may freeze all estate assets upon detection of undue pressure, coercion, or threat directed at the executor or the integrity of the estate. Section 4.4. The executor may postpone the will reading indefinitely if he determines that beneficiaries or interested parties are engaging in harassment, manipulation, or legal intimidation. Section 7.3. The executor is authorized to liquidate estate property, including primary residence, without beneficiary consent if such action protects the estate's value or serves the trust's charitable mission. Section 9.1. If beneficiaries engage in harassment or make false legal claims, the executor may reduce or eliminate their distributions at his sole discretion. I sat back in my chair. Grandpa had given me nuclear options. Every tool I needed. Not just to protect the estate, to protect myself. He'd known they'd do this. The dinner, the pressure, the folder full of lies. Maybe not the exact scenario, but close enough. He'd built a fortress around his life's work and handed me the keys. I checked the clock. 10:28 p.m. Opened my laptop. Drafted an email to Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn, proceed with Protocol B per trust terms. Distribute assets exactly as Grandpa specified in the trust document. No deviations. Notify family at 9 a.m. tomorrow via registered mail. I will not be present. Begin assessment for sale of primary residence per executor authority, Section 7.3. Property should be liquidated and proceeds directed to charitable distributions. Thank you. Jake Walsh, Executor. I read it twice. Hit send. The reply came 4 minutes later. Understood. Courier scheduled for 9 a.m. delivery. Assessment team will contact you Monday. Legal documentation will be prepared by end of week. You're doing the right thing, Jake. I closed the laptop. Doing the right thing. That's what Grandpa would say. When I'd ask if I should report Marcus for something, or tell Mom she was being manipulated. Do what's right, not what's easy. I looked around my apartment. 1 bedroom, clean, minimal. $1,100 a month plus utilities. I'd kept this place secret from them for 2 years. Let them think I lived in the old complex on Riverside, the one with the broken elevator and the sketchy parking lot. Let them think I struggled. Let them think I needed them. Easier than explaining why I didn't want them visiting, why I didn't want them seeing what I'd built without their help, without their interference. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to Dave's number. We'd been friends since college. He knew about the family, not all of it. Enough. Texted, "Can I crash at yours for a few days?" 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, family stuff? Me. Yeah, about to get loud. Dave, come over. Door's unlocked. I'm up. I stood up, went to the bedroom, pulled out my gym bag, packed the laptop, the executor folder, 3 days of clothes, charger, toothbrush. Went back to the shelf, grabbed Grandpa's chisels, the whole set, wrapped them in a towel, packed those too. I looked around the apartment one more time, made sure I hadn't forgotten anything critical. On my desk was the photo of Grandpa and me at his workshop. 5 years ago. Him teaching me how to use the lathe. Both of us smiling. Sawdust in his hair. I picked it up. Packed it. 11:23 p.m. I grabbed my keys, locked the apartment, took the stairs down to the parking lot. The Civic started on the first turn. Reliable, paid off. Nothing flashy. Exactly how Grandpa taught me. Value over image. I drove to Dave's place, 15 minutes across town. Quiet streets. Most of the city asleep. He lived in a duplex near the university. Grad student housing even though he'd graduated 3 years ago. Rent controlled. He wasn't leaving until they kicked him out. I parked on the street, grabbed my bag, went to the side door. It opened before I knocked. Dave stood there in sweatpants and a ratty t-shirt, He looked at my bag. That bad? Yeah. He stepped aside. I walked in. Beer? He asked. Coffee. I'm not sleeping anyway. He went to the kitchen. I dropped my bag on his couch. Sat down. The apartment smelled like old books and Thai food. Dave taught physics at the community college. Made $38,000 a year and didn't care. He came back with 2 mugs. Handed me one. Black coffee. The way I drunk it in Grandpa's workshop at 6 a.m. before school. Want to talk about it? He asked. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., a courier is delivering a letter to my family. It tells them the estate is frozen. Will reading postponed. I'm executor, and I'm not backing down. Dave whistled. That's cold. That's protection. He nodded. Didn't argue. Dave understood boundaries. His family had tried to guilt him into law school. He'd chosen physics and cut them off. 3 years of silence now. How long you staying? Few days. Maybe a week. Until things calm down. Things aren't calming down, man. You know that. I know. He sipped his coffee. Good. You need backup. I'm here. Thanks. We sat there, didn't talk. Just the sound of the refrigerator humming and cars passing outside. 11:58 p.m. I pulled out my phone. Set it to Do Not Disturb. Set an alarm for 8 a.m. Tomorrow they'd call. Text, email. Show up at my apartment probably. They wouldn't find me. I lay down on Dave's couch. Pulled the blanket over myself. My phone sat on the coffee table. Screen dark. In 12 hours, a courier would knock on their door. Mom would sign for it. She'd open the envelope expecting routine paperwork. Instead, she'd read the words frozen. Postponed. Executor discretion. She'd call me. 60, 70 times probably. I wouldn't answer. Not tomorrow, not next week. Maybe not ever. Grandpa's letter was in my bag. Last line kept running through my head. Protect this from people who see money, not value. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow could wait. The alarm went off at 8 a.m. I opened my eyes. Stared at Dave's ceiling. Water stain in the corner shaped like Ohio. 1 hour. I grabbed my phone off the coffee table. 23 missed calls already. All blocked numbers. They'd started at 7:15 a.m. Too early. Too desperate. Dave was in the kitchen making eggs. Scrambled. The smell filled the apartment. Coffee's ready, he said without turning around. I poured a cup. Black. Stood at the window looking at the street below. Normal Friday morning, people heading to work. Woman walking her dog. Mail truck making its rounds. At Mom's house, everything was about to break. 8:47 a.m. Marcus was probably pacing, asking where I was. Mom watching the driveway, waiting for my car. They expected me at 9 with documents to sign, with surrender. My phone buzzed. Text from Vaughn. Courier departed. ETA 9:02. I texted back. Confirmed. Dave set a plate of eggs in front of me. You good? Yeah. He didn't believe me. Didn't push. I ate. Kept my phone on the table. Screen up. Watching. 8:59 a.m. 1 minute. I imagined the scene. Mom at the window. Marcus checking his watch. Claire on her phone scrolling through last night's video. The one she'd posted at 11:30 p.m. The one I'd checked at midnight. 42 views then. I checked it now. 47,000 views. The comments were brutal. This family is toxic. Forcing him to sign? That's financial abuse. The mom's face when he said no, pure manipulation. Little brother needs to run. 9:04 a.m. My phone lit up. Email from Vaughn. Subject, delivered. Message, letter signed for by Patricia Walsh at 9:03 a.m. Protocol B in effect. I set the phone down. It was done. Right now, Mom was opening the envelope. Law firm return address. Thinking it was routine paperwork. She'd read the first line. Pause. Call Marcus over. 9:08 a.m. My phone started ringing. Mom's number. I declined. Blocked. Rang again. Marcus. Declined. Blocked. Again. House landline. Declined. Blocked. Dave looked at me. That them? Yeah. How many times are they going to try? Until they figure out I'm not answering. The calls kept coming. Different numbers. Friends' phones, probably. Neighbors. Anyone they could borrow from. I declined them all. 9:17 a.m. Vaughn called. I answered. Mr. Walsh? His voice was calm. Your brother just called my office. He's upset. What did he say? That this is illegal. That I can't freeze his inheritance. That you manipulated your grandfather. What did you tell him? That the estate isn't his inheritance yet. That the executor has full discretion under trust terms. That all actions taken are within legal bounds. I heard shouting in the background of Vaughn's call, muffled. A woman's voice. Is that them? I asked. They showed up at my office. Vaughn's tone didn't change. 20 minutes ago. Security is handling it. Do I need to do anything? No. This is expected. They'll exhaust the obvious options first. Calling you. Calling me. Making threats. Then they'll try desperation. I'll be ready. I know you will. Call if you need anything. He hung up. Dave was watching me. They at the lawyer's office? Yeah. Going well then. I laughed. Couldn't help it. The whole thing was absurd. They'd thought I'd just sign. Thought I was weak. Grandpa knew better. I opened my laptop, checked my email. 63 new messages. All from family accounts. Mom's subject lines. Please call. We need to talk. This is getting out of hand. Marcus's subject lines. You're making a mistake. Call me now. Legal action pending. Claire's. Jake, seriously? Mom is crying. Why are you doing this? I didn't open any of them, just watched them pile up. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Jake, this is your Aunt Sarah. Your mom called me. She's very upset. Can you please call her? Aunt Sarah. Mom's sister. Lived 3 states away. Barely knew her. I deleted the text. 10:32 a.m. I checked Claire's TikTok again. 61,000 views now. The algorithm had picked it up. Top comment, 9,000 likes. This is why you don't record yourself being a terrible person. Second comment, 7,000 likes. The sister filming and laughing, actually disgusting. Third comment, anyone else notice the mom threatening him? Sign it or leave this house. That's coercion. Claire had turned off comments an hour ago. Too late. The screenshots were everywhere. Someone had downloaded the video, posted it to Reddit. 17,000 upvotes on the family drama subreddit. Someone else had posted it to Twitter. 42,000 retweets. Claire's TikTok handle was in all of them. Her follower count was tanking. 1,200 followers yesterday. 900 this morning. She'd wanted content. She got it. 11:15 a.m. Vaughn called again. Your mother retained an attorney. That was fast. Her lawyer called. Patricia Chen. She wanted to discuss terms. What did you tell her? That there are no terms to discuss. The trust is explicit. Distribution is per the grantor's wishes. No negotiations. Pause. She asked if you'd meet with your mother. No. I'll relay that. She also asked about the house. What about it? If you're planning to sell it. I am. Silence on Vaughn's end. Then, I'll have the assessment team contact you Monday. Thanks. Jake? His voice shifted slightly. More personal. Your grandfather would be proud. I hope so. I know so. He told me as much. Said you were the only one who understood what he built. I didn't know what to say to that. Vaughn continued. This will get worse before it gets better. They'll escalate. More threats. More manipulation. Maybe false police reports. Be prepared. I am. Good. Stay where you are. Don't go home for a few days. I won't. He hung up. Dave had left for work. Physics class at noon. I sat in his empty apartment watching my phone light up with notifications, texts, calls, emails, voicemails. I didn't listen to the voicemails. Didn't need to. I knew what they said. Anger, bargaining, guilt trips, threats. The 5 stages of grief speed running through a family that just lost $2.4 million. 2:17 p.m. New email from Vaughn. Subject: FYI. Message: Your mother's attorney sent a formal letter threatening to contest the will on grounds of undue influence and diminished capacity. Standard tactic. We'll be filing our response citing the medical records and witness statements we have on file. Also sent her the link to the TikTok video. She withdrew the threat an hour later. I replied, "Thank you." 3:43 p.m. Text from a number I didn't recognize. "Jake, it's Dad. Please call your mother. She's not doing well." Dad. First time he'd reached out directly. First time I'd heard from him in months, actually. I typed, "No," sent it. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, okay, that was it. No argument, no guilt trip. Just okay. Maybe he understood. Maybe he didn't. Didn't matter. 5:51 p.m. My building manager called. Guy named Tom, mid-50s, retired cop. Didn't take crap from anyone. "Jake, you got some visitors at your building." "Family?" "Yeah. 3 of them. Woman in her 60s, 2 younger. They're demanding I let them up." "Don't." "Already didn't." "Told them you left instructions." "No family visitors." "They're not happy." "They leave?" "Eventually." After about 20 minutes of yelling, the younger guy threatened to call the cops. "Did he?" "Nope. I told him I'd call them myself for trespassing." That shut him up. "Thanks, Tom." "No problem. You need anything? Let me know." He hung up. So they'd gone to my apartment. Probably figured if they could get to me in person, they could pressure me. Make me fold. They couldn't even get past the lobby. 6:38 p.m. I checked my phone. 68 missed calls total. 43 texts. 97 emails. None answered. I opened Claire's TikTok one more time. The video was gone. She'd deleted it. But it didn't matter. It was everywhere else now. Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, screenshots, downloads, re-uploads. She'd recorded their own defeat, posted it to the internet. And now the internet had opinions. The top Reddit comment summed it up. Dude activated the reverse Uno card. They tried to force him to sign away his inheritance. He froze theirs instead. Legend. 7:24 p.m. Text from Marcus's phone. Different tone. "Jake, we can work this out. Let's meet. Just us. No lawyers. No mom. Talk like brothers." I read it 3 times. Brothers. We'd never been brothers. Not really. He'd been the golden child. I'd been the quiet one. The one who fixed things. The one who asked for nothing. The one he borrowed from and never paid back. I deleted the text. 8:09 p.m. Final email from Mom. Timestamp said she'd sent it an hour ago. Subject: Please. Message: Jake, I don't understand why you're doing this. We're family. Family works things out. Your grandfather would be ashamed of how you're acting. Call me. Love, Mom. Grandpa would be ashamed. The line made something cold settle in my chest. I opened my bag, pulled out his letter, read the last paragraph again. You'll feel guilty. Don't. I'm trusting you to protect this from people who see money, not value. Even if they're family. Especially if they're family. I put the letter back, closed my laptop, turned off my phone. Dave came home at 8:30. Brought pizza. We ate. Watched a movie. Didn't talk about it. By 10 p.m., I was back on the couch. Phone still off. The silence was perfect. They'd tried everything: calls, visits, threats, guilt, lawyers. Nothing worked. Marcus thought I'd fold. Mom thought I'd cave. Claire thought I'd forgive. They all thought quiet. Jake would do what he always did. Stay quiet. Stay compliant. Stay small. Grandpa knew different. He'd given me the tools, the authority, the legal protection. He'd given me permission to say no, and I'd said it, loudly, permanently, by refusing to say anything at all. 1 week later, I was sitting in a coffee shop on Market Street, laptop open, working on a project for a client, small web design job, $300, easy money. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but it had been quiet for 3 days. Maybe they'd given up. Hello? Is this Jake Walsh? A woman's voice. Professional. Calm. Yes. This is Patricia Chen. I'm an attorney representing your mother, Patricia Walsh. I closed my laptop. Okay. Mrs. Walsh retained me to help negotiate a resolution regarding your grandfather's estate. There's nothing to negotiate. Pause. I understand you're upset, Mr. Walsh. I'm not upset. I'm following the trust terms. She's willing to drop any legal contest if you agree to distribute the estate according to your grandfather's wishes. That's what I'm doing. His actual wishes. Paper rustling on her end. I have the trust document here. It says 60% goes to charitable organizations. Correct. Grandpa's favorite organizations. Veterans workshop programs. Youth coding initiatives. Small business development grants. And 20% to you. For executor duties. Yes. 15% to your parents conditional on financial counseling. Also correct. 5% divided among extended family members. Cousins. An aunt. People who visited Grandpa in the hospital. More rustling. And your siblings Marcus and Claire receive nothing. They're adults. They can earn their own. Long pause. Mr. Walsh, your mother is not taking this well. She knew what Marcus was. She enabled it for years. She's asking if you'd be willing to meet. Discuss this face to face. No. Not even to talk? The terms are final. She has 30 days to accept her share or reject it. Her choice. Silence on the line. Then, I'll relay that to my client. Thank you. She hung up. I opened my laptop. Went back to work. The conversation had lasted 4 minutes. Felt like less. 2 weeks later, Claire sent me a message on Instagram. Jake, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have filmed that night. I was being stupid. Can we talk? I read it twice, didn't reply. She sent another one an hour later. Please. Mom won't stop crying. Marcus is a mess. We need to fix this. I closed Instagram. Didn't block her. Just didn't respond. Some things you don't fix. You just walk away from. Month 2 came fast. I was at the grocery store on a Tuesday afternoon. Produce section. Picking out apples. Saw him across the aisle. Marcus. He looked different. Thinner. Hair unwashed. Stubble on his face. He was pushing a cart with generic brand items. Store brand cereal, marked down meat. Our eyes met. He froze. Cart stopped mid-aisle. I turned, walked the other direction, left my apples on the shelf. Heard him call my name once. Didn't turn around. Got in my car, drove away. Didn't feel good about it. Didn't feel bad either. Just felt done. That afternoon, Vaughn called. Your mother signed. I was at my apartment. Making lunch. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. The counseling agreement? Yes. She'll receive $360,000 distributed quarterly over 5 years. Conditional on completing financial counseling sessions monthly. And Dad? He's included. They both have to attend. Good. Vaughn paused. The house is ready to list whenever you want. I flipped the sandwich. Watch the cheese melt. Sell it. You don't want to keep it? Your grandfather built that house 40 years ago. He built it for a family that doesn't exist anymore. Silence. Then, I'll have the realtor contact you. Thanks. The house sold in 3 weeks. $780,000. Above asking. Young couple with 2 kids. They loved the workshop in the back. I signed the papers remotely. Didn't go to closing, didn't drive by one last time. Just signed and moved on. Month 3, the charities held a donation ceremony. Downtown community center. Small event. Maybe 50 people. Representatives from the organizations. A few reporters. $1.44 million. Split between veterans programs, youth education, and small business grants. The causes Grandpa had supported quietly for decades. I stood at the podium, gave a short speech. My grandfather believed in building, not taking. He built a company from nothing. Built relationships with his customers. Built things in his workshop that lasted. This money honors that. It builds opportunities for people who want to work for them. Sat down. Afterward, a reporter from the local paper approached me. "Mr. Walsh, can I ask a few questions?" "Sure. Your family contested this distribution. Any regrets about how things turned out?" My grandfather trusted me to protect what he built. That's what I did. She scribbled in her notebook. "Will you reconcile with your family?" "That's not my job anymore." "What is your job?" "Living my life. Building my own things. Moving forward." She wrote that down. Thanked me. Walked away. The article ran 3 days later. Small piece on page 7. 200 words about the donation. One quote from me. One sentence mentioning family discord without details. Nobody cared about the drama. They cared about the money going to good causes. Exactly how Grandpa would have wanted it. 6 months after that dinner, I moved to a new apartment. Still modest. 2 bedrooms instead of 1. $1,300 a month. Better neighborhood. Closer to work. Grandpa's tools sat on a shelf in the second bedroom. The one I'd turned into an office. His chisels. His hand plane. His measuring tape with the worn brass clip. On the desk was the photo. Him and me in the workshop. Both smiling. Sawdust everywhere. No other family photos. None on the walls. None on the fridge. Just that one. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Jake, it's Claire. Please. Marcus is in really bad shape. He lost his apartment. Mom is asking if you can help. Just this once." I read it. Deleted it. Blocked the number. 5 minutes later, another text. Different number. "This is Mom. Please talk to me. Your brother needs help. We're family." Deleted. Blocked. The text would keep coming probably. Different numbers. Different pleas. Same message. I turned my phone to Do Not Disturb. Permanent setting now. Sat at my desk, looked at the photo. Grandpa was gone. Had been for 7 months now. But his workshop tools were here. His trust was executed. His wishes were honored. That was enough. People ask sometimes. Friends. Co-workers. Casual conversations that turned personal. Do you miss them? Your family? No. Not even holidays? No. Don't you feel guilty? No. What they really meant was, don't you feel like you should feel guilty? And the answer was still no. What I missed for years was peace. The freedom from manipulation. From being seen as a resource instead of a person. From family dinners where I was the solution to problems I didn't create. The bank account that fixed Marcus's mistakes. The IT support that kept their lives running. Grandpa gave me 2 things. His trust and his tools. The trust let me protect what he built. Let me honor his real wishes. Not the fantasy version Marcus invented. The actual documented plans of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. The tools reminded me to build my own life. Better than theirs. Quieter than theirs. Mine. I looked at the chisel set on the shelf. Remembered Saturday mornings. The smell of sawdust. Grandpa explaining how to read wood grain. How to cut with it, not against it. How to build things that lasted. Not just furniture, not just projects. Lives. He'd built his life deliberately. Slowly. With purpose. And he'd taught me to do the same. I turned back to my laptop. Opened a new project file. Another client. Another job. Another brick in the foundation I was building. Outside, the sun was setting. Orange light through the window. The city sounds muffled by double-pane glass. Peaceful. That was the word. Not happy, not successful, not victorious. Peaceful. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.